There is a version of you that only exists around your family, a slightly different one that shows up at work, another one that your closest friends know, and somewhere, buried under all of them, one that only comes out when you are completely alone. And the strange thing is, all of them are you, every single one. You have probably noticed this. The way your voice changes when you answer the phone, and it is your mother calling versus your best friend. The way you sit differently in a job interview than you do on a couch watching something with people you love. The jokes you make in one room that you would never make in another. The opinions you voice freely here and quietly swallow there. It does not feel fake. That is the part that is hard to explain. Each version feels completely real in the moment you are living it. The you that exists at the family dinner table is not performing. Neither is the one that loosens up completely at 2 a.m. with old friends. They are both telling the truth. They are just telling different parts of it. So what is actually happening? Your brain is not being inconsistent. It is doing something far more impressive. It is running a social calculation so fast and so automatic that you never consciously notice it. Every time you walk into a room with people in it, your brain reads the environment in under a second. Who has power here? Who expects what from you? What the rules are? What version of you is most likely to keep you safe, accepted, and connected inside this specific group? And then it becomes that version, before you even open your mouth. This goes back further than you might expect. Not to childhood, not to school, not to the first time someone made you feel embarrassed for being yourself. It goes back to the same place everything goes back to, the ancestral group, the tribe. For most of human existence, your survival depended entirely on your ability to fit inside multiple social roles at once. You needed to be one thing to the elder who controlled resources, something slightly different to your peers competing for status, something else entirely to the people you wanted to attract, or the children who needed you to appear strong and certain. The human who could shift smoothly between these roles without losing the thread of who they were underneath, that person thrived. The one who was rigidly the same in every context, who could not read the room, who did not adjust, that person struggled. They misread relationships. They violated unspoken rules. They lost standing in the groups they needed. So your brain learned to adapt, not as a survival hack you consciously developed, as a deep instinct built in over hundreds of thousands of years that activates the moment other people enter the picture. Psychologists call the layer of self that you present to the world the social self. But here is what is easy to misunderstand about it. Having a social self does not make you fake. It does not mean you are hiding who you really are. It means you are doing what every socially intelligent human being does. You are reading the context and responding to it, the same way you would not wear the same clothes to a funeral that you wear to a birthday party. Not because you are lying about who you are, but because you understand that different situations have different rules, and navigating those rules is not dishonesty. It is fluency. The people who make you feel most yourself are not revealing some deeper, truer version of you that the others are suppressing. They are simply people around whom the social calculation produces a result that matches more of your internal experience. The gap between what you feel inside and what you show outside is smallest with them. That feels like freedom. And it is. But it is not more real than the other versions. It is just more comfortable. Here is where it gets interesting. The version of you that exists around your family is shaped by decades of history. Every interaction you have had with them has laid down a pattern, a groove. Without realizing it, you step into that groove the moment you walk through the door. Old roles activate. Old dynamics resurface. You might find yourself responding to your parents the way you did at 15, even though you are 34 and have built an entire life they have never seen. The groove is that deep. The version of you that exists at work is shaped by what has been rewarded and what has been punished in that environment. If being direct got you praised, you are direct there. If warmth got you overlooked, you may have quietly dialed it back. This is not manipulation. It is learning. Your brain is doing exactly what brains are designed to do. Take in feedback from the environment and adjust behavior accordingly. The version of you that exists with your closest friends is often the one that formed earliest, before too many of those adjustments had been made, which is part of why old friendships can feel like coming home. Not because that version is more real, but because it has the least editing. Now here's the question worth sitting with. If all of these versions are real, if none of them is the fake, and none of them is the whole truth, then what are you actually made of underneath all of them? The honest answer is that you are made of the pattern across all of them. The things that stay constant regardless of who is watching. The values that show up in every room even when the way you express them changes. The things you cannot quite bring yourself to do, no matter how much social pressure is pushing in that direction. The things you always move toward, even when the path looks different in every context. Those constants, the ones that survive every social calculation, are closer to the core of you than any single version ever is. And here is the last thing to understand about all of this. The discomfort you sometimes feel, the sense of being slightly split, of not being quite sure which version is the real one, is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a sign that you are paying attention. Most people move through their social worlds on autopilot, shifting between versions without ever noticing the shift. The fact that you notice it means you are watching yourself clearly enough to see it. That clarity is not a problem to solve. It is the beginning of actually knowing who you are. Because you cannot find the constants if you never notice the variations. And you cannot know what stays the same until you have watched yourself change. Tonight, in whatever room you find yourself in, with whatever version of you has shown up for it, notice the shift, not to judge it, just to see it. Because somewhere in the space between all those versions, that is where you actually live.